You're watching The Edward Fowler Show. Now, here's your host, Edward Fowler.
Yes, indeed. Welcome to the show. Don't know what's going on there with my intro. Decided to stop halfway through. Welcome back to the show. It's Thursday, the 11th of September, 2025. I don't know what's going on. I think we're still alive. Yes, we are. I'm just saying because last week I did a show here on a Thursday night, and within 5 minutes the show got ended, basically. So I thought my guest froze and just hanged up, but it was actually me. My internet connection just went off. My provider went off. But if we do lose connection, I will be back, and then it'll be a pre-recorded episode. But as it stands, we are currently broadcasting on youtube.com/Edward Fowler, and of course across my favorite podcast platforms, so you should be able to listen to this wherever you get your podcasts as well. There's a returning guest on the show, as you can see on my screen on your right hand side, and I think this is the first time you can actually see me, because the last time you came on the show was a couple of years ago. I can't remember the exact year. Unless my guest remembers when he last came on the show, but it was a couple of years. Yeah, no, I know a couple of years ago. I want to say 22, but I might be wrong. It might be 23.
Let's see, end of 22, because I just released my album Love Revolution, so it was probably right there. You're right in there.
Okay. And then of course we talked on that episode about that very much album. We also discussed how you were not related, or you were not the same person as somebody else, a pro wrestler called the same.
Not the pro wrestler.
Yes.
No.
Which we'll get into again in a moment. And you also talked about, when you were over here in the UK, in Brixton as well. You did discuss that last time you were on the show as well, right. All those a couple of years ago. But without further ado, please welcome back to the program, back to the show for the first time in a couple of years, Al Perez, not the wrestler, the singer/songwriter.
Yes, thank you for having me, Edward. I appreciate it. Yes, Al Perez, the singer-songwriter, musician, artist, whatever. Not the pro wrestler, although I do challenge and call him out. If he wants to come out of retirement and wrestle me, I'll do it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Al Perez versus Al Perez.
Yeah.
And he's probably older, so maybe I have a chance now.
Possibly, and maybe as well. I would love to see your wrestling persona.
Well, I don't know, but I'm gonna have to wear a mask. That's gonna have to happen.
Okay, I like it.
I'm gonna go like little Mexican wrestlers with the masks.
Yeah, Luis Libre for sure.
I'm going old school. I'm gonna come in. Yeah,
I love it. But I mean, the last time you were on the show, of course, I reached out to your then management people. I don't know if they are still the same management people you have today or not, but you then reached out to me directly, which I felt very honoured and privileged of, because it was like a out the blue email, because you sent it to the info@edwardfowlershow.com, which you want to send any inquiries to, send it to that email address, and then it will get forwarded to me if I'm interested. And of course, when I seen your name pop up in that inbox, and then I was made aware that you were interested in returning to the show, I thought absolutely we'll have you back on the show.
Well, I'm glad you had me back. And, I wasn't sure how I was going to handle this part of my career. As you know, things change as an artist or musician. We have record labels we do records with, which, I was with Warrior Records.
That's right.
And Warrior Records, Jim Irvin, great guy, my executive producer. We've known each other for years. We've done lots of records together. The records you see behind me are with Warrior. And the new one is also in conjunction with Warrior, which is we call it the Collection, Then and Now. Pretty proud of this one. We the industry is always changing. You don't know if is there still a record business? Is there still an industry? Is it, what are the dynamics? We're always trying to figure out, how do we make it a business and not a hobby? Us long-termers like me who've been doing it for 30 years, my joke is I'd play on the corner for a nickel, but we'd sure like to make a living at it, and so it's important when we're creating our music, to know what is our team. So when I reached out to you, I didn't know how we were going to do the album. Jim and I had discussed doing this album, and so I did it, and then we kind of made some decisions. Yes, sir. Am I talking up?
No. Bring up the artwork a bit up on
Oh,
the screen.
artwork.
Yeah,
Okay, can you see it closer?
yeah,
Can I
there
bring
we
it
go.
closer?
Yeah,
There we
there we go.
go.
Perfect. Right there. Yep.
There
Yeah.
you go. There's the new album cover.
Yeah.
I'll get you. I'll send you over a few of these. I'll maybe not mail them. I'll bring them to you because it'd be cheaper for me to fly there than it will be to mail some. And we were just having a discussion before we went on air about what it costs to send things from the States over to the UK.
Yeah.
It would be cheaper for me to hop a flight and have dinner with you than it will be to mail me things. But that's just a joke, kind of a joke. But the album came out, and Jim and I had an agreement to release this, a co-release with independently and with them in conjunction. I didn't when I reached out because I didn't know if we were going to use the same management team we used in the UK, which was a Night Flight and Lewis. I think that's who you talked to before. Is that correct? I'm pretty sure that's who it was. And
I think it was a guy called Ed. I think.
It is Ed, and the company's and so he is my new management, a renewed management agreement with them. They're going to be promoting a tour in the UK, Europe, after the first of the year. So we're going to be coming back. We came back. We came commando style on the last album. We came with a 3-piece and trying to, not seeing what the interest was, seeing what we had the best time ever, and the music was well responded, and we got the opportunity to open for 9 Below and do that tour with those guys, and they were just cool as shit. I mean, they're a staple around the UK, so we got the opportunity to play all the great clubs, a 100 Club in London, and we went to some great studios and just played a lot of shows and had a lot of fun. I kind of haven't been before. I really fell in love with being there. I've done nothing but wanting to either go live there for a while or be there. It's funny when you're from somewhere else, and I've traveled well, but London had not been a place I had traveled to. And after being and spending time there, I thought, I really love the temperature of the music scene. It's just so great. You guys have a killer music scene, great musicians, very cool environment to be an artist. I can see why it's always funny. Probably everybody from the UK wants to come to America because they think it's all happening here. Everybody here wants to go there because we all think it's happening there. But maybe it's just because we're from here and we get kind of used to it. And I've played everywhere in LA and New York and all of Seattle. I mean, you name it, Austin and Nashville. I've been all over.
Yeah.
I've done lots of records and I love the people. I didn't find your food to be bland at all. I'm joking because that was the number one question I got. How's the food? I'm like, I don't know. It's like food like everywhere. Yeah. I mean, yes, there's traditional food that can be a little plainer, but there's absolutely a diversity of, every culture of food you could. I ate some great steaks. Of course, I ate traditional stuff, fish and chips and all the normal things. And I said, the people were great. The music was great. I love the city. All of it. I was out in the country. I can't remember all the towns because we had a management team. They give you an itinerary.
Okay.
And I'll say this about being over there.
Yeah.
I am not the guy to ride your tube. No. I don't like being on the subways in New York, and I certainly don't need to be on. I tried. I'm lost and I'm claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And I said, you need to get me a driver.
Yeah.
Because one, I'm not driving with all these crazy drivers over here, and they drive on the wrong side of the road. And then
we switch gears. We drive on, I think, the correct side of the road. I think you guys drive on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah, we probably do. Either way, you don't want this guy driving down there.
Well, I don't know. I thought you might want to try driving on our side of the road because a lot of Americans do want to try over here because they want to feel what it's like and with all the tight roads we have, especially in the countryside, especially up north. So,
it's beautiful up there. I'd like to ride a Harley Davidson. So I ride motorcycles. I've been riding motorcycles since I was in high school.
Sick.
I own a Harley Davidson.
Yes,
I own a big
we
motorcycle.
talked about it last time on the show. We do have a live comment coming in. We thank you for your live comments. Keep them coming in. Yes. This person, the YouTube username, this is quite mispronounced this, so apologies if I have. Pilvier, Pllvier, Perez says, my husband, I absolutely love Al. He is a superstar. Patty and Mel. Thank you for so much, Patty and Mel.
Nice. Hi, Patty and Mel. They're in a different state right now. I think they're over in Idaho. Hi, Patty. How are you? Hi, Mel. Mel, go to work. You should be working. I'm messing with you.
Well, I mean, obviously, Patty and Mel are making a special exception to make sure they're here tonight to see you here
Oh, they're
live on this
great.
show once
I
again.
I have to mention her really quick because
Feel
she'll be
free.
mad at me if I don't. Patty's been following my music career for probably 20 years, and she is a photographer. And I should open this photo now. I'm gonna have to open it. Okay, hold on a second, because
Yeah.
Patty has taken more pictures of me at shows, all kinds of venues for years. She loves my music. She knows the songs. She calls me out if I say the wrong word because she knows the music. She knows when it's coming, and she's taken photos of me for years. And so I made the mistake, Patty, and I apologize publicly right now that I didn't list her once on a photo I used that she had taken. And she just did it as a favor. She didn't charge me or anything. And I put the wrong name, and she got mad at me and didn't talk to me. So I had to have a public flogging. But on the inside of
Yeah.
my new CD,
Perfect.
that photo is by Patty, who's
Love it.
on there. And so I intentionally used her photo because she's been such a long-time fan of the Al Perez music movement. And so thank you, Patty, for watching, and a shout out for her and I used her on purpose. Used the inside cover. I said, I'm going to put her photo in it. I don't care. I have to. And, we hire photographers to shoot like the covers and all the things you do. But Patty's a loyal fan. She loves music, not just my music. She's a person that goes out and sees live music, and that's what we do. We look for those super fans that are gonna know your art, know your music. They're gonna continue to support live, not just my live music. I tell people all the time, don't go see everybody.
Yeah.
If you don't go see live music, that's where we make money. I mean, we know what kind of 0.1% we're making off Spotify and all the other channels these days. That's tough money to make. It isn't like the old days when you made 99 cents a play, or and we were getting paid. So the money that way is tougher money. So the real money is merchandise, CDs. Even though everybody can go digitally, I'd say buy the CD and then listen to it on Spotify. I'm happy to sign the stuff for you. Buy a T-shirt. That's how we keep the thing rolling and keep the new music coming. And I love creating. If I could spend my days writing, recording, and performing, it's all I would ever do, and I try to. I do it all the time. I'm always writing. I'm excited about this new album, so I'm going to talk a little bit. Is that okay if I talk a little bit about it? Do you have any questions?
Just before you do,
did you get a chance to listen to my single?
Patty and Mel say thanks with a sigh of face. So I just want to let you know that they have seen your cover inside artwork mentioning Patty. I thought I'd just mention that. Before you mention about your album, your new single, I just want to say that it's funny that you brought up that band. Now, we have been in contact with the band, we'll just quickly find it because it rang the bell with me when you mentioned 9 Below Zero. You mentioned them a moment ago.
Right.
And I did have them scheduled to come on this show at the beginning of this month. They shared my promotional about coming on my show, and then for some bizarre reason, they never showed up on the show. So I don't know what happened there. I need to reschedule them back in. I just not go around to it yet, but I will do at some point. So very bizarre. But I just thought it was random that you've toured with them or whatever. And
they're good guys. They were such a cool band. They've been around for a minute. They have some great songs. And they were just really open and hospitable to us as an artist coming over and allowing us to open for them on so many shows. Cool guys. Dennis, good guy. I apologize. This lead guy, that's a harp player, just cool dude.
Yeah.
Smoking band. Charlie, their guitar player, a female gal that's also a solo artist. She was great. I mean, they were just cool. They were just good people to hang. You sometimes do shows with bands that aren't that cool. Let me just tell you. I won't mention names, but I've been doing it long enough where I go like, those guys were kind of a word, and you don't want to have to do that again.
No.
And then sometimes you get experiences with bands that are just supportive and embracing, and they're not threatened. They want to enhance their show. They want to give other people opportunities because they're so well known around the UK. For them to have me up, it was like, this is cool. These guys have been around.
Yeah.
They don't need me, but thank you and thank them for having me out there with them. And when I come back, I'm sure I'll say hello and maybe get an opportunity to do a couple shows and play with them and perform or whatever.
Because it was Dennis who was scheduled to come on this show, and for some peculiar reason, he never showed up. So I don't know what happened. So hopefully,
I don't know. You'll reach out. He's a good guy. He's straight shooter.
Yeah.
So
he reshared it. Well, whoever looked at the I guess social media, they did reshare it on Instagram the day before when I announced it. So then the next day they never showed up. I thought it was very peculiar because like 24 hours ago they shared it. So hopefully we can get him back on the show.
Yeah.
And hopefully he'll come on the show because I was excited to have him on the show, to talk about the new album. But it didn't happen. So I don't know what happened there. Maybe it was something. Maybe they didn't like my promotional. I don't know, but we'll see. But
I don't know their team over there. Again, I've only had a chance to see, but I speak of them in high regard. Great musicians, great writers. They're a staple in your scene over there. And they've been around. They do what they do, and they do it well. So I dig it. I dig those guys. In fact, they gave me one of their old albums, a re-release of that, somewhere in one of. I'm down in my studio right now, so it's somewhere around here. Yeah. There's just I can't put everything up on the walls down here, or else it starts looking like a Hard Rock Cafe in here. Because I've been doing it. So I actually took stuff down because my daughters. They're like, Dad, what are you going for down here? I'm like, I don't know. It's 30 years. Remember my memorabilia, album stuff, tour stuff. People give you stuff, posters. It's I don't know. I mean, these albums behind me. Those are all albums I've done over the years, and there's more than that. If you could see the whole room, which I won't make torture you with, but
no, it's fine. I love it. But I mean, what I was going to mention is before I'll let you come back in is that you mentioned about how Patty and Mel. You mentioned about being fans for 20 odd years. So if we go 20 years ago in 2005, right, I was 6 years old.
Nice.
Just showing my
God, I feel so old now. Thank you.
I thought you might. But of course now...
my son, Ed Fowler, called me. See, I'm going to start calling my boy Ed.
But now, of course, 20 years later, I'm now 26, and I'm sure you look exactly the same as you probably did 20 years ago.
Well, I should probably pull one of these albums off the wall and show you. I let's see, 26. I was your age. I went through a little bit of a Prince phase.
Yeah.
I was younger, and I had this kind of big hair going, I remember. I tried to see if I could see the photo behind me, and people made it's actually back here on one of the albums, and I remember the suit. It was the single button up to the top, kind of Beatlesque, kind of old school suit, and I remember doing the photo shoot down in. I was your age. I was 26. I just remember this really because it was the first time I went to Hollywood, and there was a big photo shoot. And we had the big. I had a beautiful assistant gal who did my makeup and all the things. And your age. I remember it well. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun, and I had a great time.
I feel like the 90s and the 2000s were I think the last true great decade. Because I feel like people were more edgier. You could do certain things. It was cool. It was it was just unique. And then since like the 2010s onwards, it's not. I don't know. It's just something about it. It's not the same as like the 2000s and the 90s. I can't put my finger on it, but it's just so different, and it doesn't feel like exciting. Like, oh, this is so great.
As an artist that's been around long enough, I've been playing music for a long time. I often look at all, I was talking to my management team. They asked me to put a playlist. You need to build a playlist. You need to get your playlist out. And I go, well, that's cool. Okay. And I had to think about it. Like, what do I listen to?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I'm listening to old school country western like Merle Haggard. Why? Because I think some of that writing was so honest and so, in some ways, ridiculous because it was so crazy what they would say. I have to listen to it. And then other times I'll listen to fast forward, staying on the country western theme, like Chris Stapleton. And I go, everybody's like, oh, do you love Chris Stapleton? And I go, well, who doesn't love Chris Stapleton? But here's the trick. I think he has a lot more soulful to himself than he is a country artist. When I hear it, I hear a lot of soul. I hear a lot of R&B kind of soul overtones in it. And I'm like, it's kind of washed out past that country western thing to more of a, where he's a country artist that sounds R&B and soulful to me. And people are like, well, what else do you like? And I said, well, if I stay on a soulful thing, now I'm going off into I like Boz Scaggs. And they're like, well, that's an old artist. I'm like, yeah, but he wrote in his voice, like, forget it, And, you go on, and you listen to stuff that's current. Ariana Grande, and I was watching the VMAs the other night, and Gaga, she's getting older, but she's always cutting edge with what she's doing. I'm not into performance art so much. I'm going to say that. So I'm never into the big weird show stuff that they do. I think as a traditionalist, meaning you're never going to see me in a costume doing something silly, regardless of how famous I am, or even when I was young, I would have never done it. I never bought into, subscribe to that kind of a performance where your music becomes a performance art as well as just music included. So that's part of their whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's okay. That's okay for them. But
would you ever go on The Masked Singer? If you were given the opportunity, would you ever go on The Masked Singer?
On The Masked Singer, you know what? I'm always shocked on who's on it, but sure, why not? You know what? I love Halloween, and I'm always up for a costume, but not in my show. But that'd be fun to see if they could figure out who you are and to perform music that's maybe not your own.
Yeah.
And all those things could be kind of fun. I'm silly. Don't get me wrong. When I say I don't like to have fun, I love to have fun, and I will always put a costume on in my shows. No, for fun, yes.
Even if it fell on Halloween.
Okay, yes, I will do it for Halloween, but here's the deal. Everybody knows me well enough that if this will go out funny that anybody who's ever known me, I will go all in for Halloween. I will wear the dumbest, craziest things. I've been in the Peter Pan outfit with the green tights on. I've been Prince Charles. I've done you name it. I've been the worker bee. I've done so many wild things, and I've been single a lot of years, so I've dated a lot of people. I don't say that for any reason other than to say I've done a lot of Halloween big spectaculars, and I've gone all in with people. And I'm like, you want to go in? I am totally in. My kids to this day will go crazy for Halloween. We were just talking about Halloween the other day. I'm like, because my daughters are your age, and I go, hey, what are you doing for Halloween? They're like, I guess because we used to go in America, Knott's Berry Farm. You know what Knott's Berry Farm is in California? So we have Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm. It's just an amusement park.
Okay.
But what they do is they convert the whole park into what they call Knott's Scary Farm, and we would literally go there, and it's like a big ginormous haunted house, and it would just be something fun to do. And we dress up and scary, and my kids would do it also. And as they got adults, they would continue to do it. And Disneyland does the same thing. They turn Halloween Town or whatever and all those things. So I love it. I love dressing up. Yeah. But as far as my art or my music, no, I don't really have a gimmick. Yeah. I don't have anything wild, other than I like to perform music. I love to write music. I write from a lot of different things and perspectives and experiences, and I just love. I love the new songs on the album. For instance, when we shot the cover, and I talk about this cover because I really wanted it to kind of represent who I was, not only just for a photo of me in it, but being an American Mexican-American, if you will, that there is something in the art that kind of represents an old comedian from long ago that somebody had painted as graffiti on the wall, graffiti art, and I wanted it to be in the photo. And it's just because it was kind of a little hidden message that because I came from LA. I grew up in LA. I'm a first generation in America and my family was immigrants from Mexico. So, I don't forget who I am. Although I don't sing in Spanish or write Mexican type music, I certainly grew up on it. And I certainly grew up on Motown and different types of music, El Chicano and some of the other stuff that's, that we grew up in as a California culture, if you will. I live in the Pacific Northwest, which is 1,000 miles from there up north. So I live in a very wooded kind of area outside of Portland. I don't know how familiar you are with the West Coast, but if you think of Portland, Oregon.
Are you in the state of Oregon?
I'm right across. So I live in Washington State, which is I live 15 minutes from downtown Portland.
Right.
So
interesting.
I live in the city of Vancouver, Washington, USA, not Vancouver, BC. So I'm literally 15 minutes across the river from downtown Portland. I'm very close.
Yeah, it's very close.
But we don't say we're Oregonians, and we don't say we're from Portland. We really claim our town here of Vancouver, Washington. But I'm a Northwest artist. That's what I like to tell people. I left LA as a teenager. I came to the Pacific Northwest to go to college, and I grew up here and played music here and raised a family here. And I consider myself a Northwest artist. Why? Even though I'm from California, I have roots in California. I grew up there very young, but all my music and things that I've done have been based out of the Pacific Northwest. You know, I lived in Seattle in college during the, like you talk about the 90s, the grunge era, and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden. And I saw all those guys in concert. You know, I was there. You know, it was a cool scene. You know, we still had Heart, the band Heart from that area. You know, you could go see them in that era. They did a tour with what was their band called? Bad Animals or something. They called it something else. They didn't call it Heart, the two sisters. And they had a big recording studio in Seattle. So I was very much in the music scene in the Northwest, out of the Seattle area during that whole big era. And it was like, wow, what a cool scene to be part of. You know, music was changing. Rock, you know, I loved the 80s rock music, but then all of a sudden it turned into a grunge scene. And then it even evolved past that, you know, it just kept going. And as an artist, I don't define myself as a style of music. I like to just do music. Yeah. I don't know when I sit down at the piano and write a song if it's going to be a power ballad that you could refer to the 80s, or if it's going to be an R&B type thing because I'm playing guitar and I'm playing kind of or if it's going to have a Motown feel to it. I've been influenced by all styles from all genres because growing up in LA, then moving to Seattle and being part of these other areas and then traveling a lot. And music comes from all of it, you know. Yeah. But back to costume, sure. If I could be Paul Stanley, I guess I could be that for Halloween. If I do, I'll let you know.
Okay, I look forward to it.
If I can be the Star Child, maybe.
Yeah. Well, before we let you move on, now, of course, you did ask me a question, and I'll answer your question because, you know, I'm not a politician, and, you know, I'm not going to give you a politic answer either. I'm just looking back at our email exchange. I don't think I received a link to your new single, so
okay.
I apologize. I didn't see it. I might have missed it, but I don't remember seeing a link or you mentioning here's my new single.
Well, I'll tell you what. Well, it's probably my fault. That's why I had to hire a management team again.
You're good.
It's going to take care of that stuff because I wasn't sure I was going to try to manage my own stuff, and I realized, you know what? I'm an artist. I want to be the artist. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to hire a team that's going to handle that for me again. And so he's got that going. If you look for the links, I'm on all. The new single is called Steps.
Yes, we got it in my YouTube title.
And it is available on all the media. Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, whatever media of music Amazon Prime. I don't know. Are you guys big Amazon people over there?
We are. Where you live? Amazon Music.
Okay, I'm on Amazon Music. All you got to do is tell your Alexa, play Al Perez Steps, and it'll play it.
Right.
I do that because I have it in my bedroom. So if someone's up there, I go, hey, play Al Perez Steps. I'm joking with you. But,
so I'm guessing as well. I mean, you could possibly say, hey, Alexa, play the Fowler show Al Perez, and it might play that. It might play that.
Will it do it? Is your show on it?
Yeah, it's on Amazon Music.
Make sure. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to try to find it.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, please do. I think because I believe last week I on the show, you actually do follow me on Facebook. So
So I'll look and see. But I joke with people all the time, like, don't say you don't listen to my music because I know you guys are all up in the middle of the night ordering some BS stuff off Amazon that you do not need because I know I do. I'm a sleep shopper. You know how I sleepwalker? No. I will wake up with a box on my porch. Like, what did I buy? Did I really need an ice cream maker? Did I need that? No.
You might have heard this story. I might have told you this before, but I've actually have sleep text somebody only once in my life. I actually sleep text somebody without knowing I did until I wake up the next morning and I sent a message to somebody at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I opened it up thinking, I don't remember sending any message at 2 o'clock in the morning. And it was a load of gibberish. It was something about the guy who responded to me. I can't remember what he said, but it was nothing what he said was what I was responding to. I was saying, how was your holiday? Don't worry, stuff like that. I mean, they absolutely no sense at all. So I deleted it before he saw the message. So I deleted it. Luckily, he didn't see what I wrote because it was a load of gibberish.
Well, we always called it. Are you sure it wasn't just a drunk text?
No, I've never been drunk.
Okay, I don't drink anymore. I'm 4 years sober. This will kind of segue
we'll
into
that.
that.
Yeah, I want to get into that.
And I'll say it because I used to drunk text, and I'll tell you what. I would just feel like I had to talk to people and I would send stuff out and go like, what in the world was I even saying?
Yeah. But yeah, talked about your fourth anniversary of being sober because that's a huge achievement. You know, people might not think that, but you've been a wonderful person, and I think when we last spoke, it was probably 2 years sober at that point. But now
Right,
you're
it
almost at
was.
the 5 year point, so that's a huge achievement. People might not see it like that, but I certainly do.
But I'll tell you this, let me open up the conversation by saying I don't believe that everyone that drinks is an alcoholic
No.
or needs recovery or needs to quit drinking. Do what you want. For me, I grew up in a climate of, one, being a Mexican American, not to say that all Mexicans drink, but, in a culture of time that it was way more acceptable to drink young. And I did. And so I started my drinking career young, and not to say it wasn't fun, because I had a lot of fun. I love fun. And I'm not to say that I don't have fond memories, because I do. And I'm not to say it's not for everybody. Do what you want. It's simple for me is that I was getting older. I was getting heavier. I'd gained a lot of weight. If you looked at me over 4 years ago, I was almost 100 pounds heavier. And that was just from me poor life choices, not being a healthier person. And so, I saw myself getting older, and I'm a vocalist, I'm a singer, I loved whiskey and cigarettes and bad choices. No, I'm joking with you, kind of, but I did. And I lived a very rock and roll lifestyle. And, and it wasn't that I wasn't functioning or this and that. I just felt myself not feeling as good as I did when I was 26 your age. You start to notice the aches and the pains and the weight and the health and the life choices. And you start asking, why haven't I got to where I want to be yet? What am I doing that might be, changing that direction for me? And, I just woke up one day and nothing happened. People always ask me, what happened? Did your wife make you quit? No, I'm not married. I haven't been married for over 25 years, I think. The girlfriend? No, I didn't even have a girlfriend at the time. I'd messed that up already. And again, was it DUI, drinking while driving? No, I've done that already in my life. No, it wasn't anything. It was nothing that happened this time, except I had really thought about it, to change your life. Anybody, it's hard to go, I'm going to wake up and be the best version of me. How can I start with that? Well, how about start by getting healthier? And so I made a decision. I woke up that day, and alcohol got a little out of hand for me. Again, I'm not saying if you can handle it, just go for it. If I could handle it, I'd do it. I can drink a fifth of Crown Royal. I'm just telling you tonight, I could do it. I did it. And so it was time for me to get healthy. And I changed my life right then. I didn't have another drink after that day. And it was with some recovery. I didn't do it on my own. I spent a lifetime being the other guy, being the rock star.
Yeah.
I was the first guy to have a straight shot and a double. Let's rock this party and let's go hit the stage and go. I did it all the time, and it was fun. But my health was suffering. I was getting a little older, and I started to get concerned. Can I sing forever? You see talent like someone like who passed away, took over, so Tony Bennett or some of the older vocalists that had these huge voices. They took care of themselves a little more as they got older. You have to, or else you're not going to be that guy forever. We hear plenty of old rock stars that sound not that good anymore.
Well, one example as well is, of course, who also passed away recently was Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh.
As well.
And I want you to know my very first concert was Black Sabbath. So when we talk about Ozzy, I am talking about a deep, dear love for that man. He was so, and I'm not saying this to be on the bandwagon of everybody. I am telling you, my first concert, 11 years old, was Black Sabbath. I saw Black Sabbath, and now Ozzy had just got fired. Dio had taken over. Dio was a singer in the band, and I was 11 years old. I saw that, and then I was there at the tours for Ozzy's albums. I went to every one of them. I've seen Ozzy in concert. I've hung out and had beers with Tony Iommi backstage. Wow. I've met Tony Iommi a few times, the guitar player for Black. Believe me, I'm in. Absolutely. I'm all in. I think he's one of the most. And now he's finally getting the recognition. I always thought he was a great writer. I always loved his writing. I thought the things he would write about was so unconventional sometimes, and then he'd pick these amazing guitars. So let me just say, Ozzy, God rest your soul. I loved him, influenced me, impacted me. I remember the day Randy Rhoads died. I mean, for God's sake, we were young and we were just such into that music. We loved Black Sabbath. We loved Ozzy. We loved that kind of music. And it's funny because when I became an artist, I was nothing like that stuff. Mm-hmm. But people are like, well, then why do you always reference it as an influence? I said, what you become as an artist is just what you naturally grow into. Yeah. it doesn't mean you're not influenced by other types of art. You look at all of it, you absorb it all, and it creates who you are. Like, and Ozzy was so when he said, I'll quote something. There was a line in a song. I remember being and listening to a song, and nobody ever told me. I found out for myself. You got to believe in foolish miracles. I was like, forget it. I'm in. I love his writing. He understood who I was, and he was speaking to my soul. And I was like, oh, forget it. I was sitting there playing. I was playing piano the night, and my brother and I were playing a show together. My brother Roy, we call him Ripper. We don't play together much anymore, but he toured with me and played with me for years. And we were sitting playing a show, and somebody goes, Ozzy just passed. Can you guys do an Ozzy song? And I was playing piano, and I was like, I think I can play Dreamer on piano. What a cool song, and really not that typical of an Ozzy song, but a great song. And I sat and played it, and people were like, wow, that was really cool of you to do that. I'm like, I don't know how cool it was because I didn't feel like I was a little shaky on it. I don't usually play
on the fly
playing an Ozzy song on piano nonetheless.
Even I know that as well. Even I know, but I mean, great legend, and of course he had a fantastic second career as a reality star.
Oh yeah, we all love that show. I don't care who you are.
Well, I love to see it. I love season 1. I love season 1, episode 1. That's my favorite of all time. Just that one episode with the TV and the setting fire to the toaster, or the oven, whatever it was, and turning the shower on, and his reactions were just hilarious. It was just comical.
You just didn't know where he was going to go, and it was like, and hats off to Sharon. I'm going to tell you what, I often say a good woman will take you a long way. If you're lucky and fortunate to have someone who loves you and cares about you. I was married once to my high school sweetheart, love of my life, the mother of my 2 children, and we're still friends to this day.
That's good.
Life became whatever it was, and for us, but when you have a relationship with somebody who really has your best interest at heart, regardless of what kind of jackassery you are, you better keep that one.
You guys are on very good terms and in good contact as well, because you have many people who, for some reason or other, doesn't make out and they can't stand each other and just barely have any contact only because of the children. But that's it. But I'm glad that you have a good contact.
Yeah, you know what? For us, we knew each other when we met when we were 16 years old. You're not going to know many people from your age to be this age, and to go, I've known this person my whole life. Yeah. She's seen me when I was. She knew me. She knew me in the basement playing a guitar, trying to write a song, to being an artist, to recording albums, to touring, to doing all.
And now traveling to the UK and Europe as well. So that's pretty cool.
And she goes, I remember when you were teaching yourself to play piano, and you would just torture us all, just because I taught myself, because, I didn't have any money for lessons. And I bought an old used piano, and I drug it into the house. And, I was just going to learn to play this. I just had to learn to play piano.
And not just that, but also the fact that there was no YouTube back then either. So you couldn't just go on YouTube and get tutorials that way either. So
absolutely. We didn't have the information, the access to the information. If you didn't have money to go buy a book, you just didn't have it.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me once how I got a record deal. My first record deal, this is a true story, and I swear to you with all my heart. Someone said, how did you get signed on your first record deal? I said, I recorded an album, and I went to the bookstore and bought a book on how to get a record deal. And at the back of that book, there was a bunch of names of people to mail. And I remember I mailed cassettes out because we don't have CDs yet. And I didn't have very much money. So I went to the copy store and had copies made of my little dialogue of what I wanted to say. And I have one. I should go grab it. There's one back here on the wall. It's the last existing one. And I only had enough to make about 40 of them. And so I packaged them up, and I didn't have enough postage money to mail them. So I could only mail a few out at a time. And I was young, and I got offers, and the rest was history from there. But I went and bought a book on how to get a record. The book was called, and I have the book somewhere.
I believe you.
And it was called How to Get a Record Deal. I went, you didn't have internet. You didn't have that resource like you do today.
Now, because the time we spoke, of course, AI wasn't really that developed, and now in 2005, AI, you can just go to AI and it'll give you all the answers without having to go on Google or Bing or whatever to try and just get the answers. You just tell it what
Right.
you want and it gets it within seconds. It's just mind blowing how much the technology has evolved over the past 20 odd years. But we've got to mention your single Step because you briefly mentioned it.
Steps.
Then we went way off topic, so I'm now want to bring it back on topic for you to discuss it because I want to make sure you have
Okay.
enough time to discuss it because you have only booked out an hour for me, so which I do appreciate, and we've only got 14 minutes before it's the top of the hour, so I just want to
Okay.
bring
So
it to your attention.
steps. Yeah. Well, thank you for asking, coming back to that. I can always get off topic and
No,
go
no,
on
you're
about
good.
just
I like the different topics we go off to. I do. It's good segueing.
steps was a, you know, when you decide, I'm going to call I didn't quit drinking, I'm in recovery. So two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Some people decide not to take on or take a time off drinking. That was not the choice for me. I had a problem and I needed to quit. And so it's been a journey for me. And the steps along the way to get there is a different at different points. You know, early on, just changing your lifestyle. Say, I'm not going to go to the pub or to the bar and have cocktails and happy hour, and you start realizing people start changing around you. And then I went through a recovery program, which is literally 12 steps. I did it, and again, not all people agree with it, and that's okay. It's an old format of recovery that's free and available for everybody if you want it. And again, I'm not telling the whole world they're a bunch of alcohol. Do what you want. If it's time for you to do you, it's fine. But for me, I needed that resource, and I got it. And so steps was part of it. Doing this 12 steps was part of it for me. But beyond that, you know, as a writer, I like to write in double and triple entendres. And the steps of life, the steps of there was an old Christian poster, and it was the sand, and there was footsteps in the sand, and at the bottom, I think everybody's probably it was inspirational, and it said, I think, God, why weren't you there when I needed you? And I was, because it was only, he thought it was his footprint. It wasn't. It was it's called, I think it's called footprints or steps. It was God carrying you during your hardest times to help you accomplish what you. And so I thought about that. So that's the second dial into steps. And then I thought about this when we were little kids. We said, when you mess up on your turn, you want a do over. You want to, it's not my turn. I get a do over. I got to do it again. That wasn't it. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. And you kind of say that. And so in the song, I talk about, taking the steps and then getting can I get a do over? Can I get a do over? And I've been blessed by God to I have faith, and that I've been given a second chance in my life to have a completely different life than I do today. I have a different life in the last 4 years than I've ever had in my life. A quality life, a faithful life. But I had to give up a lot of things and people, and it wasn't easy. And I have a bluebird, and I talk about him in my song. So when you get a chance to listen to the song, I reference the bluebird. In my times, I live in a 100-year-old house, which is an old house for us. I know over there everybody has older places, but I have an old house. There's a bluebird that's always been in my yard, and he'll get right next to me. Like, he'll almost come up to me. He'll almost get on me. And I don't know why. And I've always talked to him, and I would tell him. And sometimes I'd be drunk when I talked to him. And sometimes when I felt like my life was difficult, I'd always say, "Hey, bluebird, why are you here to talk to me?" And I talked to this stupid bird. And so when I was writing the song, I felt like maybe in some spiritual way, he was there to carry me through it. So I talk about the bluebird came to see me today, and I talk about it in my song. And it really was he really is a bluebird. I have one of his feathers that fell off, and I have it in my cap that I wear, because it's symbolic of that higher power, or you becoming a trend. I have a new song it's going to be called. I'll get to it in a minute, but that song, it moved me, and I felt like I need to write this. And I want to be honest, and I want to talk to people, and I hope people understand that I am not preaching at anybody. I'm saying this was my journey. This is what I did. This were my steps. This is my do-over. This is my second chance of having a different quality life, and I feel amazing. I feel healthy. I feel spiritual. I feel re-energized. I'm excited for what's next. I don't know any more or any less than I ever did, but except that I know that I feel like it's the time to go out there again, present the music, right? Present this new album with the new singles on it, Step being the first one. I have another song on the album that'll come out next called Brothers, which I wrote for my brother because he's always been my partner in crime. My brother Roy Perez has always been the guy who protected me and played music with me. And so the next, so these ones are much more personal and much more honest. And I just felt compelled to write that stuff. The next album, which we're starting into already, I won't get into that because we'll promote that when that comes. For now, we're promoting this one. And of course, Lottie Da came out as a single last summer, which we included on this album because it wasn't on an album. It was just a single. And that was just about going caution to win and wanting to be on that forever vacation. But Steps is close to my heart. It's honest writing. It's good writing. And it was a really good time. I had some really good friends play on it in the studio. It was the first time I said, I don't want to go to the studio and do some big super production. Can the band go to the studio, record this shit, and excuse me, and be honest about the music, like we play it live? Let's just do like an old school recording, like they did in the 70s. Like the yacht rock type of music. Toto and some of those old artists that did these really cool musicianship albums that were just stellar players. And it wasn't a bunch of overdubs and a bunch of garbage. And it was just, even the Eagles early stuff, you listen to some of that. And I really kind of thought, let's do it like a 70s album. Let's just go record, like, let's go play our asses off and do it. And not a bunch of takes and not a bunch of fanciness, just musicians being good musicians with some good songs. And you know what? These were some of my favorite studio sessions because they were simpler. We weren't overthinking it, and the producer wasn't overproduced. Kevin Nellingham Audio, a good friend of mine, was the producer, and we didn't do it like that. We just said, this is what it is. Let's go be musicians, and we have this music to present, and let's do. And a guitar player did a great job, and the drummer ended up, I would say, that's a story for a production interview, but we ended up replaying the drums. My regular drummer wasn't available, so I had a different drummer play it. I was super unhappy with the drums because they felt forced, and I'm like, man, they're just not natural enough. I need it to be cleaner and straighter and more interesting, and thank so Derek Boone, a good friend of mine and the drummer for my band. He was back in town. I said, I know you're going to hate me because you didn't plan it. I need you to go back and play it. Not your stuff. The guy I'm skipping all that. Yeah. Studio guy's out. You got to go fix it. I got to fix it after it's done because now I have to play along to full tracks because now it isn't building it. He had to play exactly to the whole stuff recorded already. Yeah. And so it was fun. But anyway, those are fun stories because we have those memories. And he goes, man, you made me work my ass off for that. But you know what? The music was better for it. We fun recordings, great studio. Great guys. I love making music, and Steps is personal to me, and I was really honest about it and just putting my life and my soul out there. This is where I am in my life. It had to be said. Of course, the new stuff that's coming after this is going to be a lot of different things that you'll think are really silly. They're nothing like it, but that's an artist. Yeah. Who wants to paint the Mona Lisa over and over? You want to paint new art all the time, and you want to see what's next.
Well, that's to say, because I'm guessing. Let me just make sure that I got this correct. Yeah. So, where can I guess people? I guess is it available right now? Steps.
It is.
Perfect.
Yep. So, Steps is out right now. The album is going to be released probably later in the year. Yeah. The full album, but the Steps as a single is out on all the music platforms. Yeah. Amazon Music, Spotify, Pandora, you name it. Wherever you listen to music, Apple Music. Wherever you listen to it, YouTube Music, all the things, and Ed's going to put a link on his site, I'm sure.
Yeah. I will tag your YouTube channel in my description below of my YouTube video. Just send me your YouTube channel, and I'll try my best to link it in my description below. Absolutely. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I did have a guest on earlier this week, and for some bizarre reason, it would not let me tag her YouTube channel. And it's a tag of the YouTube channel. It just wouldn't let me do it for some bizarre reason. So, but yeah, if you just send me your YouTube channel in an email to me, and I will Google it, and then I'll try and link it to my description. So you may get a notification saying, "Hey, Edward Fowler has tagged your YouTube channel in my video."
Okay, perfect. Well, we'll try. I'm working on getting somebody in that position to handle my social media
Right.
and my all that,
Yeah,
all the things that I'm not 26, so I'm challenged a little bit when it
well,
comes
I don't
to
know. I
some
think
of
you're
that.
doing quite well. I think you're doing quite well. You've got more
But
followers.
I give it a go.
Yeah, you got more followers than I do. So you're doing something right.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're
Well, I
welcome.
appreciate that, and I appreciate you having me on. I'm going to be in the UK. I'm going to be in London the second week of January. Don't ask me where I'm playing yet. They're working on that, but we're going to come down for a couple weeks in January, and we're going to be pushing this album. We're going to do some shows. Maybe Nine Below will have me out with them again. I'd love to see them. I'll reach out to them as well. And now, are you actually close to London? Or how far are you? Where are you located?
So I'm in Manchester, England.
Okay.
So you should come up to the north. So maybe do some shows in London, and then you should come up north.
We did. We played up north, and
There you go.
we had an itinerary. So you know how it is when you're out playing. I don't remember every place, but we went out. Is it a couple hours away?
I think it's more like 3 hours. I think it is 3 or 4
I know
hours.
I know I went 2 hours north and played somewhere, and I
Okay.
went 2 hours south and played somewhere because we
So-
played outside of London as well.
So maybe it might have been the Midlands, perhaps, because that's not too far from London. Because that's about an hour.
I remember it was a couple-hour drive. It was beautiful, and it was in the
Yeah.
country, and there was like big estates out there, and
Oh,
they
okay.
had these
So
big-
it's probably
they had some
it's probably not far from London. Yeah, it's probably somewhere in the
and
south.
there was concert halls, and we played some
Yeah.
concert halls, and I was like, "Who lives out here in these
Yeah.
beautiful estates,
Yeah,
man?"
yeah.
There was
It's-
like some
It's
wow.
probably a lot of rich people.
Well, it
rich,
wasn't me.
rich and wealthy people, probably. You can afford those types
Well,
of places.
I need a
by
big
rent.
hit record so I can buy myself a big estate outside of London. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
I love it over there. I really do. I do
Yeah.
love it over there. That's
Yeah.
not just
Well-
for you or anybody
well-
there. I like coming over. It's a lot of fun. The music scene is cool. You guys have
Now-
great artists.
Now, when you came over here, was it quite sunny and beautiful?
No, but I live in the Pacific Northwest, so
I know you do.
it
So
was
you
the same.
you get the rain, like
So,
we do.
I'm fine.
But
You
we,
know what?
we probably get more rain than you anyway, probably.
I don't know. We get a lot of rain. We should probably look. Next time we talk, we'll figure that out. But
Yeah.
I live in a rainy climate, and
Yeah.
people ask like, "How can you live where it rains like that?" I said, "Well, here's the deal. Everything is beautiful in the rain. Where we live, we have great air quality, beautiful trees.
Yeah.
The
Just like
cities
England.
are wonderful, and it's a different place. I traveled. I've been everywhere.
Hmm.
I could choose to live anywhere I want, and I choose to
to
live here
live in
because
Washington State.
in Washington State because it's absolutely green and evergreens and beautiful trees and forests. And I'm an hour to the mountaintop to be skiing, or an hour to the coast to be on the ocean.
I love it.
I live perfectly.
In the middle.
I'm 2 hours from Seattle, and I'm 15 minutes to Portland,
Yeah.
and I live 15 minutes from the international airport. So I'm solid right where I
Yeah,
am.
you're very good. Yeah, you got.
So
a
I
good
can go every
location.
direction pretty
Yeah,
easy.
exactly.
I like
Yeah, I
it.
love it. But we but we can't let you go just yet because I want you to promote your social media to my listeners and viewers, because of course when I tagged your Instagram yesterday, I was going to tag a different account, but then when I started typing in that different account, this other account then showed up saying Al Perez, I think it's _2025. So I thought I'll just tag that one. Must be a newer account.
Right. Well, we're going to straighten those out too, because again, I'm horrible.
You got
at this
loads of
part.
them.
Well, what I tried to do is I tried to have a personal one and a band one. So people know me as Al Perez Band.
Yeah.
When I'm out playing, Al Perez Band, because I have a band, and they think, "Oh, it's Al Perez." APB. They always call me APB. APB is Al Perez Band. I'm like,
love it.
okay. And so t-shirts are always APB and all this stuff. So it's always been APB.
Mm.
Okay. So I thought, well, I'll have a personal one for my family and this, but it just got mismatched. So I have Al Perez, a private one, and then I have Al Perez Band, both on Facebook, Instagram, X, and so we're going to try to clean these up a little bit.
Yeah, because I did tag the
it's
right
hard
one
to
on
move
Facebook. I did tag one.
Well-
tagged the right one on Facebook, and then you tagged. Well, it was you or somebody else tagged me to say you be on my show tomorrow night, and
Right,
all of
and
it.
that's fine, and so I'm trying to pull them all together. But when you kind of get them out there, what happens is not everybody wants to switch accounts. So I can have 2,000 people that are following me over here, and then 2,000 over here, but to get them to go like this
Yeah.
or ask people, hey, move over. It's hard to do. And I've done it for so long. So I just keep running both accounts, but I don't know how to fix it quite yet, but I'm going to hire probably a 12-year-old that knows how to merge it all. Just kidding,
So,
because it's not me.
Well, something else I want to ask you as well is because, of course, since you directly emailed me directly to come back on the show, now, of course, does your management team know that we're having this conversation here this evening?
I talked to Ed Lewis at Night Flight Management. Yeah. So that's who you'll probably reach back out to if you need to speak to somebody about something. We hadn't renegotiated what his part was going to be. Now we have.
Of course.
So they're back. They're going to be my UK management team. Right. And they're going to put together the shows because we're going to do London, and then we'll probably come back and do Spain and France and Germany and a bunch of stuff. And so we're starting with after the first. I said, let me finish up this year. I've got some personal stuff going on here. Let's promote the album. Let's get some interest. Then you get me the shows and do all your things, and so usually he would have contacted you, and I'm sure next time.
Well, it's interesting because when they first reached out to me, I had no idea who he was. I didn't know how he found my content, so I was quite surprised that because when I set up my website back in I think it was late 22, late 23, I can't remember the exact year it was, but it was somewhere around there. I then didn't think nothing of it, and then I had the emails synced up because it was just for me to reach out to people basically in a professional way, and then I had this other email set up to capture any spams, because what was happening was I put that other email when I reached out to people on my social media, and then I was getting all these bots then sending me all these spams, so then I set up a separate inbox just to capture all those. And then I was getting inquiries through it, including one from Ed. And I'm thinking, and then he was telling me the people he was representing. I'm thinking, there was some, they got obviously yourself, and I think another person, I could be wrong, I think it was Gloria Gaynor, I think he was representing as well. Yeah. And I'm thinking, there's some incredible people here, and how have I fit into this category? So I don't know how he came across my work or whatever, or someone recommended him, like yourself maybe you came across my work and then thought, I like him, I want to go on his show, make it happen. I don't know what it was, but somehow, some way, he then emailed me about having you on the show, and then you also mentioned about he works with all these other incredible people as well.
He's got. I can't really say who he works with because I don't want to speak for him or throw that cat out of the box. But
yeah, sorry about that. I may get into trouble.
But he's worth you reaching probably back out to because he's got some pretty. I'm okay, but he's got some old school big cats.
Yeah,
I
know,
stuff,
but I mean,
he's a real deal. He's a real deal. He's a good guy.
Apologies if I just get in trouble with him now.
No, not at all. He's a good guy, and I'll tell you what, I like him, and I like working with people and interviewing with people that I personally. So I'll say this to you: when I come to the UK and I get up north, I promise to buy you a pint and a meal, and believe me, I'm a man of my word. And you can ask anybody that's ever met me or interviewed me that if when I get around them, I will show up and go like, hey. We still got to go. Now, I don't partake, but I'm happy to buy you one.
Yeah.
And
I don't think you should buy me a drink or a lunch. It should be the other way around because you're a guest in our country.
Well, that's okay.
So I think it should be the other way around.
Take me somewhere good to eat. This is how I keep this. I'm not that skinny.
I try my best. If you go to Manchester, I'll have to take you somewhere where you
great food.
enjoy. But I'll let you choose when you.
Oh my goodness, I love all kinds of food, and you know what? I'd love to say hello. A lot of people that have visited me, believe it or not, all over the United States and in the UK. If I get to the area, I always show up. I always call and I say, "Hey, I'm in town. Guess what?" They're like, "Really? You really called?" They're like, "Yeah, I called."
You were like this.
Why not?
You were like this. So I have a cousin who lives in Oregon. I think they're not far from. Last time I spoke to them, I think it was like 20 minutes away from the main airport in Oregon.
Okay.
Airport.
Well, then they live close. They don't live far from me.
So I don't think they're that far from you. So you never know. I may get to you first. Who knows?
Well, if you come to a show, you got a place to stay. I got a big old house, and we got a studio here, and we always are doing something, and I love great restaurants. I know all the good food places.
Perfect. I look forward to it.
And music venues. We have tons of. Don't let me sell American bad on the music scene. We have a cool music scene. It's in a transitional time. People are trying to figure out. I went out last week. Let me say one other thing. I'm sponsored and I play Breedlove guitars. Breedlove guitars are acoustic guitars that are made in the Pacific Northwest. They're made in Oregon. I'm sponsored by them, and I don't play them because I'm sponsored. I always played them, and then they said, I reached out and said, I always played your guitars way before anybody gave it crap. I love your guitars, and I was just at a function with the owner last week in Bend, Oregon, and they have great guitars. And I said, you know what? Let me take some guitars when I go back to the UK. They make fine instruments. They make very specialized guitars that are made from pretty fancy woods, and they're beautiful instruments, and I love them. I have other guitars. I have Taylors and Gibsons and all the Mortons and all the things that everybody has, but my guitars, I like my Northwest connection. So you'll find that my videos are shot around my area. My music is recorded in studios in my area. Not that I can't record wherever I want or shoot these videos wherever I want. I just choose because this is my home town, and these are my people to try to utilize those resources, and even the guitars I play. So Breedlove guitars, go play when they're awesome. They're good. They're good people. The owner, Pete Miraz, is a fantastic gentleman, and just he throws good events, and they're retooling that whole company to do some really finer instruments. I love their guitars.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway. We just been given another comment. Yes, Edward, come to Vancouver, Washington. Okay, I will.
For sure.
I will.
Come. We're still hospital. I promise you. You come to town, we're going to show you the music scene. We're going to take you some good restaurants, and we're going to show you our beautiful river that we have, and we have some great fine places to eat. You like seafood? You like we do lots of infusion foods. My joke about the food in the Northwest is we take any kind of food from anywhere in the world and say we can do it better, and we make this fusion food. I joke about it all the time. But
one other person I will give I'm going to give a shout out to, but I'm going to say there may be a possibility that in November there could be a famous band could be coming on the show potentially. I hope it will happen. I'll be so happy. Not happy because you're here as well, because I'm very happy that you came back on my show for a second time. But you need to come back for a third time to be my third year, I guess, book club, because we've had a few people now making their third anniversary on the show. So we've had three timers. You know how, I don't know if you watched this, you may do. You know how Sunday Night Live has a five-time club?
Right.
I've got a 3-year club at the moment where I got lots of people coming over 3 times. So we got to make a third time.
All right.
And by the way, this is the second time you've been on the show, because the first time you couldn't actually see me, could you? Now you get to see me as well.
Right. Now I can see you. That's true. I'd love to come back. So maybe we do it after the first of the year, right before I come to London to promote when I actually know where I'm playing over there.
Yeah, makes sense. And if you have a graphic, as well, we can pop that up on the screen of your tour dates as well. We can advertise that as well, which will help you out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we're working on it right now. Again, there's lots of exciting things. We've got lots of great reviews. The album, the single's doing well. It's getting lots of play. People are interested in it. It has a good message. It's well recorded. I enjoyed it. I'm excited to get out there. We'll probably shoot a music video for it, so we'll share that with you as well as we get that done. I love shooting music videos. That's my favorite thing because I get to play a character. It's like being an actor.
Well,
I love it.
Here's one thing for you. So, Apple, do you use Apple Podcasts at all?
I don't, but I'm going to hire someone that's going to get me kind of into a little more.
Okay. All I was going to say is you should leave a 5-star rating or with a review either on Apple Podcasts or Spotify of this show.
Okay.
To help boost the algorithm to get more people listening. People are listening. I did gain a new follower the other day, and he found this show through the audio platform. So it is working. That people are listening on different platforms. And we're also on iHeartRadio as well. If you didn't know that,
nice.
Also, we're on iHeartRadio. I somehow got onto the American website and submitted this show to iHeartRadio. So we are on iHeartRadio. Whatever. I don't know what that is. I don't know if you can do it in your car or not, but it's a great selling point on my end. So I thought,
it's a big deal over here. iHeartRadio is a bigger deal than you think. Being part of that, And so it's a very good thing.
Oh, good.
A lot of the radio stations that are on FM radio dial too are owned by iHeartRadio,
Oh, really?
and there's tons of them. So
Wow.
they have the radio stations that they own, a lot of the major radio stations, but they also have that social media aspect of their music as well.
Interesting.
So it's a big deal. You should look into that. That's your honor.
Maybe I should reach out to these radio stations and say, hey, I'm on iHeartRadio. Maybe to hire me to come to host a show on your network.
There you go.
Syncast this show on their network. There we go. We could do that.
There we go. But we'll have to make it less than an hour though. Then so the
yeah. Well, who knows? It could be because there'll be commercials, won't there? Of course, to have their selling points. But yeah, who knows? But anyway, before we let you go, I want to bring back to my other point was about having that famous band. So the band is called Ritas. I'm sure you heard of them with the Teenage Dirtbag song, of course. So I'm hoping I can bring him on the show, Brandon, because of the fact that he is actually touring at the moment, or is going to be touring in the UK.
Right.
And I wanted to bring him on the show before he started his tour to talk about his show in Manchester, but apparently because he's so getting prepped for his tour and such that he can't commit to a long-term podcasting interview like this, how we do it here this evening. Right. So I'm hoping that in November there's a possibility that he could come on the show after his tour. So that would be a great get.
Well, awesome. I would love to do it, and maybe we'll do it live again. I'm going to do it one more time. Look at the brand new
album. Let me just change the screen for you. There you go. Yep, there we go. Yep, perfect.
There it is.
Love it. Then and now. I love it.
Then now, there's some songs. So the nice thing about this album is real quick is there are songs off all the albums, and there are 3 live versions that we did. We did a studio session where we recorded 3 songs live. So, like in old days, you'd buy an album and there was like these bonus tracks of live recordings. So we did that. We did 3 songs live. There's some new tracks. There's some stuff off the other albums. It's kind of a then and now album of my career over the last 30 years of stuff. Too much material to ever talk about. I have more songs than I can ever remember. Sometimes my band plays stuff out of our catalog, and we were sitting playing one day and they started playing something. I'm like, what song is that? They said, it's one of your songs. I'm like, okay, well, go ahead and get into it and let me see where it's at, because I have to remember, because I've written that many songs and I'm always writing. I write every day, and I wake up with songs in my head. So I love writing music. I'm excited for what's next in my life and with music for me, and I'm very much looking forward to coming over there. So Edward, thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate you taking my emails and remembering who I am.
I remember who you are. I remember who you are exactly when you first, but as soon as you reached out, and there's only one Perez I know of, but I was a bit skeptical at first, thinking, is it a scam email, someone pretending to be you type thing to try and get on the show? So I was quite hesitant at first. But I thought I'm going to play along and see if it's the real Perez, and I was so happy that when you came on the score tonight, it was indeed the same Perez I had on a couple of years ago. Of course, a couple of years ago, you wore that very lovely purple top. I want to say it was very.
Oh, maybe I was. Yeah. Maybe I was.
You was. I have a clip of it.
Okay, I can't remember that. I may have.
You did.
But next time I'm going to wear something very flashy. I'll have something sparkly on next time.
Perfect. But on that interview, that you were not in high definition, and that's all down to me, because for the past 4 years until this year, I did not know how to make my guests in high definition. It was doing my head in, because I always wanted to be in high definition, but I couldn't figure out. So when AI came along, ChatGPT, I asked ChatGPT. How can I fix this issue? This is my issue. How can I fix this? And it sent me a step-by-step of how to do it. And guess what? Guess what it was? All I had to do to make you into high definition, make anybody in high definition, was to click the full screen button. Click on full screen at the top right-hand corner, and it makes them high definition. It's a simple trick.
Well,
who would have thought?
Again, I'm excited that we're even talking, that I turned my computer on. So anything beyond that, I'm going to hire a media specialist to kind of handle
not me, because I'm not very good myself.
I'm old school. To do it. I try to be old school, that I even have a light now.
I love it.
I feel like I've really stepped my game up.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm too old school for you, because I only got into this whole social media business I guess back in 2014. So when everybody else was in their prime, in my age, or in their prime, like 2009, when Facebook was really popular in my
You'll
age
be
group,
fine.
I did not do Facebook. I didn't do anything like that until 2014. I thought, it seems more interesting now, so I thought I'll join it. But I mean, I'm still getting used to things and learning new things. I even was watching a video on YouTube the other night of something. I was looking for something else to do with DaVinci Resolve, and I found a way to finally crop my interviews. So basically, at the moment, because in the past I had this blue background, which you and me are sitting on my blue
Right.
background, and they will be on my show, on my Instagram, whatever, of the clip of our wheel, because I make a wheel with it. Because at the moment I think it's landscape, but it'd be
Right.
like vertical, and it has this blue line in the middle of your picture and my picture, which
Okay.
I was using for the caption text. And just on Monday, I now learned how to crop.
There
I
you
don't
go.
have to have the blue background involved. I can crop the videos so that you are on top of me and vice versa. And I'm even able to crop out my logo off this YouTube chat, because I have a different one. I have the same logo, but it's just
Right.
a bit different on the for the wheels and whatever. So I now learned that tool after, again, another 4 years. So it's just crazy.
Well, I get it. We're always learning. That's how we evolve. Even,
I just feel
even
like
at my age,
I feel like I could have
I'm
been
still
growing
learning
so much
things.
more if I knew that all 4 years ago.
Well, I tell people this. I'll say this to you, and I'll leave you on this note.
Okay.
I should speak about
Well.
4 years, and I have 4 years of recovery.
Mm,
When I think of how much I've accomplished in 4 years, and I have a timeline to really look at
yeah.
my life differently, I think, how much can I do in my life still? It seems infinite how much we can learn and how much we can change and how much we can move forward. There's no end to it. And so, um, you're still a young man, and I feel like I'm young enough to change and still be relevant and create new music and art and present that and be relevant in an industry that sometimes disregards people as they get older. The
Mm,
relevancy is just creating it. People
yeah.
stop creating music or stop learning. And I learn all the time.
Yeah.
I study the piano harder than I ever have because I've always played it, but studying it is quite a different thing.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
I
sure.
usually
Yeah.
hire very fine. I have John Pierre Guru. He's my piano player and my music director. And believe me, I don't hold a candle to him. I sat down and played something of mine that he charted and did an arrangement of. And the gal I do now, she was here, and it was funny. We were sitting there, I was playing, and she said, "Wow, it's a lot more beautiful on piano." I said, "That's because it's a really different part. It's something completely different that he plays than I play." And so it's fun. It never stop growing, always learning.
Yeah.
Even as you get older, expanding your horizons and learning new things and techniques and
Mm,
technologies. It's never ending. I'm not a big AI fan, I'll tell you that, especially when it comes to music, only because I think that real part of art of writing something from your heart and your soul and your life experiences. You can say, I want to write a song into a thing and tell it recovery. I was drunk. I had a lot of ups and downs in my life. And now I've went to a 12-step program, blah, blah, blah. And it's a kick out something.
yeah.
But it's not, the something's not me.
Yeah.
I'm the me part of that
Mm.
originality of what I write as art. And it's my art.
Well,
And
it's
I
the
will
same.
never.
It's the same with podcasters, radio hosts. I saw a video from some US radio station of employing an AI radio presenter, which I thought was very interesting, and it sounded just like a regular radio presenter. I think it used one of the voices of one of the presenters, but I don't think it was going to be used all the time. I think it's just a trial basis, but I don't know if it's still in use today or not. I have no idea. But I'll just give you an example. But I do want to leave you on this as well. You mentioned it earlier in our conversation about how about how much you are blessed, of able to keep, to still be
Yeah,
here
absolutely.
on planet Earth and all of this. And I want to take it back to, of course, today is Thursday, the 11th of September 2025, where 24 years ago, a lot of people in the US, unfortunately, got up on a beautiful Tuesday morning on September 11th and unfortunately never saw the end of that day. I can say as well
Absolutely.
that yesterday, near where I live, somebody who woke up on a beautiful Manchester Wednesday morning never saw the end of that day either.
I agree with you, and we do need to recognize, the people who've fallen during that time. And I'll tell you, I remember exactly that day when it happened, and that's a whole big conversation. But we live in times that are uncertain, and I don't know. For me, I'm a faithful man. I believe in Christ and my Savior. But all we can do is try to be a good person, be a good human being out there, and have our faith and our families, and hold ourselves
I may have
cautious.
asked you. I may have asked you this before. I will finish this conversation after this. I do apologize for keeping you here longer than you were expected to be on the show. So apologies, but I guess this is what you get for coming on the most chattiest show in Britain, I guess.
Okay.
What would be, I guess, your legacy, Al Perez? What do you want people to remember you for your legacy?
I think that sometimes, if I had to say, my legacy, of course, would be how you affect other people. That
Yes.
being a quality person, it's not for me or my gain. It's that if I can walk through this world and affect somebody else to be, or give them what they need. I didn't know what that meant before, and I've always kind of known that I felt that way. But I'll say this: there's a prayer in recovery called the San Francis Prayer, and for me, I read it all the time because it talks about giving more than you take. To help other people with no recognition. To be a good human being in this world and to others, and to love without getting loved, to give without receiving back, and it's important. To me, to legacy would be to be unselfish. I think in my hardest times, or my times of my drinking and addiction, if you will, was that I was very selfish, and I hadn't been most of my life. And I found myself not caring for other humans. And I think so. I think it's important, if I could leave legacy, is do good things for other people. And that's what we're here for, is to be good humans for other people, and to see other people's needs. And I would like to leave that for my children, my grandchildren. I have grandchildren, and that they would be unselfish and caring people. And that's what I would like to teach anybody. And I know it sounds really boxed and cliche, but it's the truth. And I find myself wanting that more and more. And I want to be a better person. That I would leave that legacy, that we tried to be a better person for other people, not for me. I can affect other people in a positive way.
Yeah.
And leave some good music.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I've written all kinds of music. I've written stuff about addiction and sexy and all of it. There's nothing I didn't cover.
I remember that one, the sexiest. Yeah, I never on the last time we talked.
And they're all true, and they're all part of my life. So yeah, just that you leave some good quality art behind that people can look at. That you can say, yeah, I did that. I left my mark. I left some quality music behind, and some real honest feelings there, and people can take it like we do when we talked about Ozzy. I told you, he affected me as a person, as a writer, as a young teenager. I loved it. I still do.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for having me on, Edward. I appreciate you. And when I get there, yes, we'll go eat some good food out there. I'd love to.
Well, I just want to add on that point, because it's a very good point. It's a very good answer you gave as well. I can't not disagree with you at all. I agree completely. It's a shame that people can't tell you what they mean to you while you're alive. It's only after someone passes away is when all this fantastic stuff comes out of other people, of how you affected them in a good way, by the way, isn't it? And it's sad that they don't tell you that at the time when you're alive, to feel that recognition. I want you to
go back and look at my catalog, and there's a song that I wrote called Parade My Name. And I wrote a song called Parade My Name years ago because I had read a book, and I realized what it made me think about was exactly what you just said. Why do we celebrate people when they're gone? Why do we not celebrate them when they're here? And I thought, if I die, my family and friends will throw me a parade in my name. The progression of all the black cars, they'll all come and eat with my family, all the people I haven't seen, and yet they all show up when I'm not there anymore.
Yeah.
And they throw me a parade in my name. And I have a song that I wrote. Being you said it that way, I need you to go back and listen to my song Parade My Name off a few albums back, and it's still relevant today, and I still play it today, and it's a wonderful song. Parade My Name will answer what you just said and speak to what you just said, because I've thought about it in just that fashion. Why don't we celebrate people when they're here? The people we love, the people we need to know, or people that need our love. Let's do it now. So Parade My Name. Go look up that one off an old album of mine. It's a great song. I love still playing it, and I wrote it a long time ago.
What a great segue to end the show. As always, our Perez, it's been a pleasure, as always, to have you on the show.
Thank you.
As always, we're liking your background as well with those awesome records as well, and I can't wait to hopefully to hear from either yourself or from Ed directly in the future. I think Ed's getting lots of shout outs on this episode tonight, so there you go, you're welcome. But I mean, I can't wait for either yourself to reach out again to me directly or for Ed to do so as well, because as I always said, it's an open book here. I don't blacklist anybody off this show. If you want to come on the show, if you want to end any, I guess, criticisms of me, feel free to. I'm an open book. I'm happy to have anybody on the show. So if you want to come on the show, if you got something to promote like Al Perez done here tonight, or if you got a potential guest who you think would be fantastic for my audience and for me as an interviewer, then feel free to reach out to me, as Al Perez did, at info@edwardfowlershow.com. That's the best way to get in contact with myself. It's info@edwardfowlershow.com. Also, you can follow me on social media, on Facebook and Instagram at the Edward Fowler Show handles, also on there as well. So it's, again, fantastic evening with you, Al. And again, apologies for keeping you for longer than an hour.
Oh, absolutely. No problem. You know what? I'm a chatty Cathy.
You are. Because
you can't get me going.
We can talk forever.
You should send me 10 questions and go answer these 10 questions, and we're going to say goodbye and hang the hell out. Quick, let's get me going.
Well, the thing is, this show is not scripted. I don't script my questions. I didn't know what I was going to ask you until we opened this call live on the air. So that's the great thing, because I don't like scripting. I don't watch any interview you give to anybody else, and I don't want to know what you've said in other interviews. I like to have my own take and see where the conversation goes. I want to be in a friendly, open conversation, not to put you under pressure. As like, are these any questions you're going to ask me? They're quite boring, repetitive. I remember the last time you came on the show, actually, I remember you said this about the show. You said that I do not ask robotic questions because I made you to think. I don't know if you remember that quote.
It's funny you're saying that, because I was just thinking it again. I thought, it's funny. I get these. I have questionnaires that I had to answer prior to interviews I have coming up.
Yeah.
And I won't say which media thing. It's something from over there. But anyway, one of the questions was like, if you could write a great novel, which novel would you score for a movie? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So random.
I'm like, I don't know. Am I even that literal? Am I that literate that I have all these novels that I've been sitting around reading? No, is that like a smart person question? I don't know. I had to ask a couple of people. I called, my daughter's a big reader, and I go like, what are the 10 top novels I should have read in my life? Maybe I haven't read enough. I don't know. I'm like, what the hell? I read a lot of garbage. Anyway. So yes, there's scripted questions. There's a lot of things that are asked the same over and over, and you do not do that. And I appreciate that about you. Again, thank you for having me. And we'll definitely do it again. Maybe after the first year, maybe right before I come over to the UK, we'll definitely do one more, and I'll get that third. Yeah. And I'll expect a trophy and or an award.
Hilarious. Well, I mean, I need to get one, I guess, because we are getting a lot of people now coming on for the third time club. Nice. So it's good to see. And by the way, I am booked up. By the way, for the first time ever, for the entire of this month, I am booked up at least 1 or 2 a week. I like to do 1 or 2 a week. I think that's a good schedule to have. So I am actually booked up. Right. I'm booked up already to the end of September, so it's fantastic. So it's never happened before. Usually I'm always like 2 weeks in advance. So when you reached out to me, I was like, well, unfortunately, I'm not available until this week. And then we were going to do it on the Tuesday, but then I thought it wouldn't give my guest from Monday enough people to watch that. So that's why I asked if we could do it today. That's the reason for that. So I do thank you for dropping.
Well, you ask me again, and I'll come anytime you ask. I'll always, no matter, not even if you call me after I get my Grammy, it's fine. I'll still come on your show.
Oh, yeah, because you have a showcase.
Except I'll be holding it like, this is my Grammy.
Yes.
I won this since the last time we spoke.
Yes, you should. You should definitely do that. And I can't wait for you to win the Grammy. That'd be great. But if you enjoyed the episode with my guest here tonight, Al Perez, as always, and make sure to like the video. Somebody has already liked the video already, so thank you so much. We did have 2 people like the video, but I can see someone's actually unliked it. Don't know why. I think we had a great conversation, great topics, great discussions. So please do like the video if you enjoy it. Share the video around. Tell everybody about Al Perez, his new single, Steps, and celebrating his 4th year of being in recovery as well, which is a huge accomplishment as well throughout, and all the amazing conversations in between of those we've had this evening. And as well, if you like the content here, and you can see we've got over 341 people subscribed to this channel, then help me to get to 400 subscribers. Please help me to get to 400 subscribers today by clicking the subscribe button. It's free to do. It's a free donation. You're just donating your time of my content, of watching me and the people I have on this show, because you never know who may come on this show, because it is the most, I guess, entertaining, unscripted, unedited edition. You won't get this type of content anywhere else on YouTube, I can assure you for that, because the questions are always off the charts and off limits.
I like it.
There's nothing which is not on limits at all. So if you want to support the channel and support me, then please subscribe to right now. 341 subscribers has helped to get me to 400 subscribers today. And I hope as well that you all stay safe and make sure to enjoy every moment of your life, because you never know when your last day on earth will be. And until the next episode, whenever there might be, enjoy the rest of your Thursday afternoon or evening.
All right.